Scheduling can take you from procrastinating, underachieving and underwhelming to being a high performer, a productive and disciplined person. I started scheduling my days about a year ago now and everything's changed for me. I ran a marathon, I started this channel, I meditated and I read every day. By the end of this video you should be able to make your own schedule that will be able to transform you in a year's time. My name's Jonathan, this is my channel where I document my own journey, the ups and the downs, and I teach the things that I've learned. Have you ever told yourself that you'll do it in half an hour? 8 AM and it gets to 10 AM, 1 PM, 4 PM, 6 PM, and then that half an hour turns into, I'll do it tomorrow. I was someone who did this all the time. I was always giving in homework late, always completing coursework in the last minute, and I've still got this streak in me, I know it. But scheduling makes it harder for you to push that time further and further back. It's always easier to watch TV than do your homework. It's always easier to play a game than start on a project. And unfortunately, unless you've got an immense amount of discipline, your mind will convince you to do the easier task 100% of the time. You're a lot more likely to continue playing games than it would be to open up some boring chemistry book or something like that. Scheduling helps making the decision to go from whatever you're doing to something more productive a lot easier. Instead of saying in half an hour, which is a mental goalpost that you've put up that has the potential of being pushed further and further back because it isn't explicitly a time, you say, I'm revising, I'm doing the project, I'm reading at 1 PM. This is a concrete decision and you know when you're going to do it, instead of just pushing it off into this imaginary dreamland of I'll do it in an hour or something. You reserve mental willpower as you no longer need to mentally decide when to stop doing a task and when to begin another one, because you've already made that decision in the past for your future, which is your present self. You don't need to weigh up different variables in the moment that need to be considered when doing a task. For example, you don't have to think about, oh, is now the best time to meditate? Is it quiet enough? I don't know, is the temperature okay? If you've already decided that you're going to do it at 4 PM, it doesn't really matter what's happening at 4 PM as long as you make time for it. You've made that concrete decision to do it in that time. You're a lot more likely to do it. You can do more hard work as you've scheduled how long you'll do the task for. So instead of just doing it for 20 minutes, instead you have a 60-minute slot, and you're a lot more likely to do way more work because you've allocated that time to doing that specific task. And you can increase the depth of work for that designated activity, and you'll be able to leverage your focusing more. There are a few different ways that people schedule. The most popular method is using some kind of calendar application. Apple Calendar works, but I think the most popular one is Google Calendar. You could write it down in real life, which would take a lot longer for me to do it, but writing something down does actually help it almost come to life and be more real than just putting it on a phone. You could make a table in your notes app, or you could do it how I do it. I use an app called Structured. It's a little more of an intuitive kind of specific app for scheduling as opposed to like the calendar and stuff like that. I pretty much schedule every minute of the day, more or less. I usually leave about 15 minutes of wiggle room around tasks that I think might take a little bit longer. For example, cooking or going to the gym and stuff like that usually can run over the time that I've allocated for it, so I usually leave a little bit of wiggle room for it. When I say I schedule, I don't mean that I schedule absolutely everything. I don't have a toilet break that I take at 11 AM. I don't schedule when I'll have a snack, and I don't schedule when I'll have a conversation with my mum or something like that. Just use the schedule, just use the calendar as a kind of outline of what you should be doing. For example, right now, the block that this is in is a filming and editing block, which is from 12 to 1:30 PM. And then after this is a half an hour block for making a smoothie. Now, I know what you're thinking, a smoothie doesn't make 30 minutes to make, but it's a nice way of still doing a task but being able to recharge my battery slightly. The wiggle room that I've created within that block, while I'm not exactly being productive for all of it, is good for being able to chill out and recharge. After this, it's reading and editing, whichever one I need to do, for about an hour, and then after that it's dinner, and then after that I usually keep my evenings quite open. I think you should have a portion of your day where you work and you work hard, and then you should have a portion of your day where you're able to play more, and you're able to be more free and, I don't know, watch something that's more entertaining. You don't have to be constantly on. You don't have to be constantly on your grind or whatever you want, if you want to say that. As I said before, I don't schedule everything. So you should be considerate and particular with what you do schedule. These tasks that you schedule should be important, should be productive, and they should be hard. I would suggest, if you haven't already, take your biggest goal and then take the 3 tasks that will be the most efficient in order to get you to the goal, and then try and implement them into your own schedule. The 5 things I think everyone should have in their schedule is 1. Wake up. This almost acts as the building block of the day. You need to know when you'll wake up in order to know when all of the other tasks should be performed. You need to know when you wake up as well, so you can organize your night routine from the day before, so you're able to get enough rest for when you wake up, which I'll get into later. Number 2, meditation. I believe a lot of people don't meditate because they feel like they don't have the time, or they feel like they don't have the right time. It's almost like a kind of perfectionist way of looking at it, where like, oh no, it's not quiet enough, it's not the right kind of day, or something like that, which is fair enough if you're doing more of like a spiritual meditation. But if you're doing it to help yourself relax and to help yourself be able to hold attention and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter too much as long as you get it done. There's also people who simply don't want to stop what they're doing in the present in order to do something that they consider so boring. And it is pretty boring, but that's kind of the point of it. But scheduling a 10-minute meditation session can be really beneficial for mental health, and it's also but a smudge on your day. When you start to schedule out your whole day, you realize 10 minutes is absolutely nothing. So it's really good to get that in your own personal timetable. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. These are great to put in your schedule. It's even better if you schedule what you have to eat in that day, because it fully removes any mental stresses that you might have to endure in the process of actually choosing what you want, which might sound minuscule, which it is, but over time, you only have so much that you can give in the day. So every little bit that you can save is good. Scheduling them in is also a great way to ensure that you actually eat them, if that's an issue for you, as well as it's a good way of you being able to understand fasting as well, and being able to fast better if you're also trying that. 4. Deep work. This 4th object is a scheduled point in the day you use to leverage your focus. Perhaps you turn your phone off, or you go to the library, or you close your YouTube tabs, or you just go somewhere that's silent to help you focus on your assignment, on your homework, on your coursework, or on your video, like I'm doing right now. Scheduling a time in your day for productivity and for focus is really beneficial in terms of getting stuff done, because you're able to give your full self towards that task, which, believe it or not, is something that only very, very, very few people are able to do. And it's something that I'm not even really fully able to do just yet. I'm still learning that skill. 5. Night routine. This shouldn't be too complex, and it shouldn't be difficult to perform. It's great to schedule when you sleep, so you'll be able to get enough rest and enough recovery for the scheduled time that you'll wake up the next morning. It's also really good for someone like me, because I've always struggled with not being very disciplined in terms of when I want to go to bed, and when I end up going to bed, I always end up going at 10:30 or 11 if I wanted to go at 10. It's also good to make your own nighttime routine. Not only will this be generally good for you, but it also put your mind in the kind of space where it knows it's time to sleep. If you do certain things before you try and sleep, once you even start doing those things, you'll start to get more tired and tired, because your body will become conditioned. For example, for me, I do skincare and then I read before bed. I do those 2 things, and that is my nighttime routine. It usually means I'm able to go to sleep at a time where I want, and it means that pretty much 100% of the time I wake up when I want as well. I do think that one of the bigger problems, especially with people who work full-time, is you can often stay awake for longer in a kind of retribution as you didn't have much time in the day because you worked 8 or 9 hours. You can almost get into this mindset that's like, I haven't been able to control my day, I haven't been able to do what I want, so then I'll stay awake a little bit longer because it gives me this kind of false sense of being in control of what I do. When you schedule, you are actually in control of what you do. For example, I go out to the gym in the morning before I go to work. That to me is huge, because it feels like I've used all the energy, I've used the most vital energy, I've used the energy that I've woken up with in the gym for something that's actually for me, and it's not for a paycheck or another company or something like that. With all that being said, these are my routines. On the left, is that on the left for y'all? I don't know. On the left is my routine when I don't have work, and on the right will be my routine when I do have work. Obviously it's completely different. I'm going off an 8-hour shift, which is what usually people have. Sometimes I have a little bit less every now and again, but I'll do an 8-hour shift for this example. I'd like to thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you'd like. Have Have a great day. Check out my last video and check out whatever YouTube has recommended to you. It's on either one, so one of these ones. Check out my channel as well. See ya.